Updates on the British flight attendant turned smuggler, a Thai monk tripping harder than his followers, drug busts coming straight out of Narcos, amazing elephant rescues. When it comes to headlines, ThailandNews never disappoints. How is it going, guys? And welcome back to another episode of Elite Level Journalism. Today we've got some absolutely wild stories, as well as an update on the one we covered last week in regards to the 18-year-old British flight attendant that went missing in Thailand, but there are some crazy developments, so make sure you stay tuned. But you know how we do it. No hoopla, we're just gonna dive right in. This one is pretty crazy. Coming to you straight from the Tiger, monk caught in drug scandal at Don Mueang Temple.
You got me.
Initially, when I read this headline, I saw Don Mueang and figured it was the airport, and I was like, wow, even monks are attempting to smuggle stuff out of the airport now, but it's quite a bit more interesting than that. Reading along here, police launched deeper probe into misconduct within religious circles. A monk involved in drug misuse was apprehended. Drug misuse? Is there a proper way to be using them? I don't know, I'm just curious. Was apprehended at a temple in Don Mueang yesterday, May 24th. The arrest of 54-year-old Chayaret and 47-year-old Pichai Buncha.
That's right.
Pichai Buncha. I think I actually got that one pretty good. Occurred in front of a monk's residence. According to Police Colonel Puadan Upati, the Don Mueang police station chief, the arrest was ordered by Colonel Puadan. Man, they're just not giving me any breaks with the names today, huh? Executed by Deputy Investigation Chief Police Lieutenant Anmat Chamcheem and Investigation Sub-Inspector Police Captain Chayapat Hibtong. I think I actually did pretty good on that one. I'm getting better. We're getting better. You can always improve on something, right? The investigation began after reports emerged that a monk at his temple was involved with illegal drugs, often inviting others, including young temple students, to join him. Come on, man, not the kids. This area had reportedly become a hotspot for such activities. Surveillance efforts by the investigative team uncovered a monk identified as Chayaret with another man, Pichai Buncha, at the residence. Chayaret confessed to having used crystal the night before. Subsequently, both men were taken to Don Mueang police station for drug testing. This is an important point, guys. If you guys are coming to Thailand, especially as an American, things are a lot different here. In America, you have to get caught with the illicit substance. In Thailand, even if you don't have anything on you and the police drug test you, if that drug test comes back dirty, that's just as bad as getting caught with it. Moving on. Initial tests were confirmed the presence of drugs in their system. Following this, Chayaret was invited to voluntarily leave the monkhood. The monk now faces charges for consuming the crystal, and further investigation is being conducted by the Don Mueang police. Additionally, reports indicated that Chayaret had posted nude photos of himself while still a monk on social media. Comparisons of the photographs with the interior of the monk's residence confirmed the location as the same. Chayaret did not deny the photographs were of him, but mentioned not having access to the social media group for some time. Chayaret, who served as a monk for approximately 30 years, acting as a spokesperson and leading various temple events and collaborations with neighboring temples. Sounds like, unfortunately, this guy went from meditation to medication, and it did not work out.
Ooh, that's a good one.
I don't think that was the initial idea for seeking nirvana. Moving right along, our next story comes to us from the Bangkok Post. 100 kilograms of drugs found hidden in car roof at border. Vague title is very vague.
Plata o plomo.
Border Patrol arrested a local man smuggling 100 kilograms of crystal and the old horse powder from Myanmar to Thailand, hidden inside his vehicle's roof. Acting on a tip-off, police waited for the suspect vehicle at the first Thai-Myanmar Friendship Bridge, which links Mae Sai district of Chiang Mai and Tachalek in Myanmar on Tuesday. In the afternoon, they saw the black Chevrolet vehicle registered in Chiang Mai cross the border back into Thailand. It was stopped and searched. There was a false compartment built into the roof, and inside it were 100 packages labeled T. The packages contained the drogas. Now, if you guys don't know, I grew up in Arizona in the States. Where I grew up was essentially my house, mountain range, Mexico. So you could pretty much throw a rock and it would land in Mexico. So one thing with that is a lot of the illicit substances coming into America come through that area. So this type of news is not really anything that I'm not used to seeing, but I will tell you what, although I don't condone it, this is a very bad idea, which we will learn a bit more about in a later story. I have to give some respect to the ingenuity. The reason you get busted pretty much every single time it's because somebody tells on you. But hiding it in the roof, I think that's pretty good ingenuity. Talk about thinking above and beyond.
Damn, bro, you got the whole squad laughing.
Moving right along, there were 60 packages of crystal and 40 packages of K. Each weighed 1 kilogram each. Police said the 49-year-old driver is a resident of Don Mueang Temple in Mae Sai district. He was identified only as Boon Pan. And talk about testing your luck. 100 kilograms, that's 220 pounds for all my American people. So I want to hear from you guys. In your years on the planet, what's the most clever or ingenuitive way you've seen people try to do this? Now, before we move into our next story, bit of a disclaimer. I really love making these videos, but I can understand if some of you might be like, wow, this is just nothing but negative, bad stuff. And to that, I would agree. You do have a point. When I was getting today's stories ready, however, I looked for literal hours. Even on the stream, I let everybody in there know, hey, if there's some positive stories coming out of Thailand, I want you guys to send them to me. Because you know how the news is, it's like that everywhere. If it bleeds, it leads. So luckily, thanks to one of you, we have a really great story that I think is absolutely awesome, and it is so Thailand-esque. So let's get into that. Coming to us from the nation. An elephant sanctuary in Mae Tang District, Chiang Mai province, recently conducted a drill to prepare for flash floods and runoff in northern Thailand. Northern Thailand does deal with some flooding problems, especially this time of year. So it is really cool to see that not only are people being proactive, but the tools they're using to prepare themselves is really awesome. The event, organized by Du Chang Du Doi Elephant Home, aimed to enhance readiness in responding to flash flood situations and to improve rescue operations for those affected in the Mae Tang River Basin. This preparation is crucial due to the risk of severe flooding during the rainy season. The drill was prompted by a major flood event in a nearby area in 2024, which caused significant damage to both local communities and the elephants living there. The training focused on specialized courses for mahouts and elephants, including water rescue, mountain rescue, and operations in highland areas. The goal is to enable elephants retired from tourism work to contribute to humanitarian efforts and community safety. I think this is amazing for two main reasons. Not only are these guys getting prepared to make sure they can help the people that need it, God forbid some serious flooding happens, but they're also giving these elephants a purpose. If you don't know, elephants are very, very intelligent. The thing about intelligent animals is they get bored. I spent a lot of my younger years around horses, and it's the same thing with horses. Horses like to have a purpose. When they're not doing anything, they can be pretty terrible to be around, honestly. They can get more aggressive, they just get bored, they get out of shape, it's not healthy for them. So I think it's really awesome that not only are these guys preparing to help people in need, but they're also implementing these elephants in their plans. I mean, could you imagine, God forbid you're somewhere, you're stuck in a flood, and then all of a sudden you look up and a rescue worker pulls up on an elephant? I think this is such a cool story, and I will for sure be following up on it and continue to keep you guys updated. And I guess you could say they are making big preparations for any potential flooding. Big, I wrote that joke and now I don't think it holds up. Now that I think about it, our next story is also positive, or has positivity on the horizon. And in regards to this one, this hits so close to home for me. I only hope, I pray that this becomes a thing, because it's something I've always wanted to do. I would go anywhere in the world to be able to experience it, let alone in Bangkok. Let's hop into it. Coming to us from Pattaya, Thailand eyes Formula One Grand Prix to boost tourism and inspire next generation. Thailand is exploring the possibility of hosting a Formula One Grand Prix following talks with the executives from the Formula One group. The announcement came during her visit to the Monaco Grand Prix, where she met with F1 CEO Stefano Domenicali to discuss potential collaboration on venue options, licensing, market, and logistics. The government views the event as part of its ambitious campaign to expand tourism by attracting global entertainment and sports events. With Formula One drawing over 600 million viewers per season, Thai agencies are now assessing the technical, legal, and logistical requirements for hosting a race. Now, if you're not an F1 fan and you're thinking to yourself, where exactly would they do this? Does Thailand have the infrastructure to support such a massive event like this? I was thinking the same things. But what we've seen with the Las Vegas race in Nevada, the amount of infrastructure that F1 brings with it, from my understanding, this whole process of bidding on a race is pretty similar to countries or cities bidding on the Olympics. They exchange, hey, we can provide this if you can do this, and they always try to find a way to meet in the middle. In regards to the Vegas race, F1 came in months in advance. They built overpasses, they built access for other people to get around. It was just really mind-blowing how much they built in just a few months span, and I really think they could pull this off in Thailand as well. And I don't know about you, but for me, the idea of F1 cars in Bangkok, running a street circuit, running down Sukhumvit, going under the BTS. Could you imagine the photos? Could you imagine the videos? I think it would be really amazing. And honestly, I think it's really possible. If you don't know, motorsports are a very big deal in Thailand. Pretty much everywhere you go, you see modified cars. If it has an engine in Thailand, there is somebody racing it. So I think a lot of Thais are really gonna be in support of this, as long as there can be a realistic plan put in place to make sure they have the infrastructure. So it's all still very up in the air right now, but you can bet I will be watching this one. Now moving into our highlight story of the day, one of the best updates I've read in a while. Reading all these stories to make these videos for you guys, I read some pretty wild stuff, but this one literally had me laughing by myself in my condo like a Temu joker. So let's hop into it. Here we go. Oh, my bad. I was getting ahead of you guys. Coming from the dailymail.co.uk, British D-word mule. I don't know why that's in quotations. That's definitely what you would call her. 21, speaks from behind bars in Sri Lanka, hellhole prison, to reveal her side of the story, and says she hasn't eaten for 2 days because the jail food is too spicy. Well, maybe next time you should check the average Scoville rating of whatever country you're trying to smuggle stuff into. Here we go. Young British woman facing years locked in a grim Sri Lankan jail after being caught with 1.2 million worth of cannabis has told of her despair and insisted she has been set up. I'll tell you guys, I already read this story, and the way that this whole thing is structured, it's very apparent that this news distributor is trying to, build some sense of she's being mistreated or that she doesn't deserve to be here. And yet, well, yes, I understand that people make mistakes, but just because you made a mistake does not mean you should not suffer the consequences of it. All right, now moving on. Charlotte May Lee, 21. I thought she was 18. All the articles we read prior to this said she was 18, so I'm not sure where we're at on that. From Colston, South London, was arrested in the capital Colombo last week after police discovered 46 kilograms of Kush, a synthetic strain of cannabis, in her suitcase. This was the other thing that was very confusing to me about this article. They mentioned Kush multiple times in here, and it's mentioned a few times that it's some type of synthetic cannabis, which I have never heard of. Kush, where I come from, is just a strain of weed, or back in the day, we used to call like high quality weed. We would call it Kush. So I don't know if this writer is just confused or if this actually is some new thing I don't know anything about, but I'll tell you guys, we're gonna get the cliff notes from this article. But from my experience as a completely unqualified elite level journalist, I don't think these people really know what they're talking about. But regardless, let's keep reading. Miss Lee, a former cabin crew worker, had just arrived in Sri Lanka on a flight from Bangkok when she was arrested at Bandaranaike airport and taken into custody last Monday. She is now being held in a Negombo prison north of the capital while she waits to hear her fate. That's another thing they mention in here multiple times, is she's a cabin worker. She used to work on an airplane, but now she's gotten busted for smuggling stuff into a country. So she used to get paid to cruise at 30,000 feet. Now she's in a Sri Lankan prison. Talk about your career taking a nosedive. Huh?
This is fine.
Okay, I'm sorry. Moving on. This is where it gets really good because she is 100% maintaining her innocence, and what she explains happened prior to her taking this flight is absolutely hilarious. Speaking to Mail Online from behind bars in the women's ward of the notorious prison, Miss Lee said she had no idea that there were drogas in her luggage when she set off for Sri Lanka. She said, "I had never seen them before. I didn't expect it at all when they pulled me over at the airport. I thought it was going to be filled with all my stuff. I had been in Bangkok the night before and had already packed my clothes because my flight was really early. So I left my bags in the hotel room and headed out for the night. As they were already packed, I didn't check them again in the morning. So as I said, I grew up in Arizona, and while I didn't do any of it myself, I allegedly know some people that might have done some things like this. So I'll just use my very extensive knowledge really quick to just go ahead and punch some holes in this story as if you couldn't already do it yourself. So you went out for the night. So what you're saying is while you were out, somebody came into your room, took out all your clothes, and then put 46 kilograms of whatever into your bags, closed them back up, and you hopped onto a flight. A great thing to think about with almost any story when you're trying to figure out if it's true or not is to think about a motive. People don't do things just to do things. People do things because they want results. They want certain things to happen. With that in mind, what would be the motive for somebody to go into a random hotel room, empty out this random girl's bags, and load it up with, once again, 46 kilograms, which is about 90 pounds for all my American people out there. Then they would just close it up, leave it in there for you to take and get on your flight and go to wherever?
I am above the law!
Now, some of you might be thinking, well, maybe she made somebody angry. Maybe somebody would want to set her up. I'll tell you, 46 kilograms of any illicit substance is not cheap. So in theory, allegedly, if I wanted to set somebody up, I would put a little amount of something in their belongings so they couldn't find it. If you were trying to get somebody in trouble, why on earth would you use 46 kilograms? So yeah, sounds like boo-boo BS to me, but let's read on. Let's see if she has any other insightful information about why she's there. They must have planted it then. And she added, I know who did it. Miss Lee told us she had been working temporarily on a booze cruise in Thailand, but her 30-day visa was about to run out. Working on a tourist visa? Probably not a good thing to admit when you're getting arrested for something. So she decided to take a trip to nearby Sri Lanka while she waited for her Thai visa to be renewed. She decided to go to the country because it was relatively nearby, only a 3-hour flight away, and she had never visited there before. I thought while I was waiting for the visa that I'd come to Sri Lanka. They, the people she believed planted the drogas, were supposed to meet me here, but now I'm here, stuck in this jail. After her arrest, Miss Lee was initially held at the police narcotics bureau for 7 days. She said she was forced to sleep on a sofa that had bed bugs with a security guard watching her the whole time. Well, first off, the few times I've been arrested, I would have loved to have a sofa to sleep on. So let's just punch a couple more holes in this story real quick. So she had to leave to reset her visa, and she decided to go do that in Sri Lanka, which doesn't really make a lot of sense. Not that Sri Lanka is a bad place, I just don't think it's on a lot of people's lists of countries I want to go to. And it was only a 3-hour flight. Well, a flight to Laos or Cambodia or Vietnam or even Bali or the Philippines, those are pretty much all less than 3 hours. So that sounds like boo-boo to me as well. The one thing she mentioned that I think might actually be true is that this person who set her up was supposed to meet her there. I could tell you exactly what happened. One thing that's not doing her any favors is her Instagram and TikTok have multiple videos of her talking about, oh, being a hustler and me and you can be Bonnie and Clyde. So what happened? There are a decent amount of visitors that come to Thailand from Sri Lanka. So I think she was here, she met somebody from Sri Lanka and she had to reset her visa. So she met that person from Sri Lanka. He said, okay, well, you gotta go, so let's go there. You can take this stuff with you. You drop it off to my friend or I'll meet you there and then we'll get paid. We'll make a bunch of money. Lo and behold, that's not what happened. And I'll tell you the main reason why I think she got set up, but not in the way that she's trying to say. I think she 100% knew that stuff was in there. One thing that a lot of smugglers do, a tactic that they use, is they will hire somebody to make a run, to take some stuff through somewhere. But what's really happening is they'll give this person a small amount in comparison to what they're bringing through. So they send that person through first, that person gets stopped, and then the authorities in whatever place are distracted dealing with that, and that's when the real load comes through. I imagine that's probably what happened. This person who was supposed to pay her or meet her there kind of sent her through as the scapegoat, the person who would get busted while they brought all their stuff through. I don't know if you guys can tell, it might be kind of hard to see on your screen, but she has a full face of makeup on in these photos. And supposedly this is from the prison. She's already been in jail for 2 weeks. So how bad could it really be if you've still got your makeup? The article goes on a bunch more, but like I said, it's kind of all framed as a sob story and they're trying to get people to feel bad for this girl. And like I said, I've made my mistakes. I'm not judging by any means. Trust me. If you know me personally, then you know. And yes, I believe that people make honest mistakes. And should your life be over because of it? Absolutely not. I'm not saying that they should lock this girl up forever or anything worse than that, God forbid. But at the same time, there are levels to getting in trouble, and international smuggling is gonna land you very high on that list. It just goes to show that if you're traveling internationally, you need to be very aware that the countries you're going to might very well not be like the country that you're coming from. And 9 times out of 10, if you're a foreigner in a country, you get arrested, and a lot of people think you can just like call your embassy and they're gonna bail you out. That's not gonna happen. So what do you guys think? Do you think she was actually set up in the way that she says? She had no idea that that stuff was in there. Personally, I can't really wrap my brain around that, but who knows? Maybe one of you guys saw it from a different angle. So let me know down in the comments. And on that note, I hope you guys have a great day. I'll see you later. You can get out now. Yeah, we're done here.